So, this is my first time going live on Substack. Yay! Hi. This is my first time going live on Substack. So, bear with me as I just kind of figure out how to do that. I know that an email was just sent out to my subscribers, just letting everybody know that this is happening. So, I am going to give us all just a couple minutes to arrive. And if you are here already, I invite you to use this time to arrive as well, just arriving in your body, arriving to this moment, arriving to this connection that we have here between us and between the other folks who are coming on to join us. I'm going to be using this time to talk about something that is really important to me, which is that when the world is chaotic or when things are not going in the way that we think that they should, this is a really potent opportunity, and it's a clarifying opportunity. And it's something that's extremely important for us to actually use as an opportunity. We don't want to miss the opportunity to take a challenge and make it into something that brings us more deeply in touch with our own soul and our own power. And I know that for so many of us, the world is not going in the way that we would hope for it to go right now. There's a big shift, obviously, in the United States of America with our president changing and with this person doing a lot of things really quickly. Whether or not you agree with the person who's in charge or the things that they're doing, the change itself is an opportunity for us to come more deeply into our power and to really get rooted in that. So, one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of the people that I love that are a part of these more marginalized communities that are really being affected by the changes that have happened just even in a day, or who are going to be affected by these changes, are feeling very, very, very much rooted in their victim mentality right now. And we all have the victim. The victim lives within all of us. And so does the president. The victim, the president, the victor, it all lives within us. Every single thing that we're experiencing externally lives within us. And so we get to choose how we're going to come into relationship with what's happening around us based on how we cultivate our own internal state. And that is how we come back into our power because each of us has a really unique part to play in this big production that's happening right now. And if we're in a position of feeling like we're not powerful, if we're in that disempowered place, what do you think we're going to express that as? How do you think that's going to come off? How are we going to put that out into the world? What does disempowerment look like? Do you have any ideas? Just pop it in the chat or leave it in the comments if you do, because I think that we've all had the experience. Actually, I know that we've all had the experience of feeling very disempowered. And one of the big feelings that comes up when we're in that place of disempowerment is anger. If something's happening that I can't control, if something's happening and not only can I not control it, but it's not happening the way that I want it to happen, I'm going to feel disempowered and I'm going to feel angry because that anger is that stimulant. It stimulates my spirit and calls me to action. It's saying, hey, look at this. This is not happening the way that we want it to happen. We got to do something about it. It's a call to action, right? So, anger is this really important key that we can use to unlock our internal state of being very empowered. But if we stay in that anger, if we stay in that position of disempowerment, we're not using the anger as a key. We're allowing it to continually dysregulate us. So if we're staying in anger, we're going to feel a lot more stress. We're going to feel a lot more tension in the body. We're going to just be in that state of fear. And you might say, okay, well, that's fine, right? Because that's what the times are calling for, because it is scary and it is stressful and I am tense. And that's fine. We can validate all of that and we get to choose. So, with validating all of that, that's the self acceptance, which is the most profound act of self love that we have access to. This is what's happening. We say that. This is what's happening. This is what's here. That's arriving in the present moment. That's showing up for what is actually real. Okay. We're not trying to change it. We're not saying, oh, no, I don't feel that. Or, oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I feel that, but I'm not supposed to. We're not trying to put anything in boxes. We're not trying to organize our feelings or our thoughts. Because using the mind to organize the mind is actual insanity and it will drive you crazy and it will create something that a lot of us are very familiar with, which is anxiety. If we try to organize the mind with the mind, we create anxiety. Okay? That's the heart's job. The mind is not supposed to be organizing our thoughts. The mind is the receptive place that thoughts arrive. And we magnetize those thoughts to us by the frequency state that we create with our emotion. How do we create emotion? Well, we don't really create emotion, but we can stimulate an emotional state with a thought. So you see that these two things are very intimately tied together, the thought and the emotion, two separate planes that are interwoven. If we choose to give energy to a thought, it will magnetize an emotion to it. And if we choose not to give energy to a thought, it allows the emotion to shift and to be felt and to move freely and to change. That's why being in the position of the observer of your thoughts or the witness is such a powerful thing to do. So that's where I invite you to arrive today. That's where I invite you to start. And that's where I invite you to start each moment, every single time that you recognize that you have the opportunity to choose how you're showing up to now and to now and to now, is to show up with that self acceptance, that ultimate self love. Okay, this is what's here, but I'm not the thought and I'm not the emotion. I'm the one who is observing these things and how they're moving through me, right? So, what this does is it allows you to distance yourself from that role of being the victim. It allows you to distance yourself from that emotion of anger. It allows you to distance yourself from that state of disempowerment. And what happens is then all of a sudden you're behind that. And what's behind everything that we experience? Does anybody know? Pop it in the chat or put it in the comments. What is behind everything that we experience? What is the driving force of everything that we experience? We can call it life. Of course, we're limited by our language and the words that we have available to us. But you know what else we can call it? Love. It's love. So when we distance ourselves, when we disconnect from being the emotion, from being the thought, then we're love. And that's our true state of being. And that's where we are powerful. Because in love, we are compassionate. We are setting forth the ripples into the world that we want to experience. Because no matter what your answer would be to the question, what do you want to experience in your life? Ultimately, it is love. It always is going to boil down to that. And even if someone is really, really, really hurt, even if they're really in pain, and their answer to what do you want to experience in your life would be even the most awful things like war. I want to see this person come down. I want to see this country come down. I want awful things to happen to these people. I want all of that. Behind that is love. Behind that is a wound, right? And when we follow a wound down into its roots, where is it? It's in the heart. And what is the heart? The heart is our capacity to love. It's all love. It's all based in love. And if anything ever seems like it's not love, then it's reorienting us to love, which means that it is still on the trajectory of love, which means that it is still love. And we may experience it in its myriad forms as it takes all of these more minor identities, but it is love. I like to think of it visually because that's the way my brain works. So here's love, and it's a straight line, always. It starts at love, it ends at love, and we can just view it as a straight line. It's kind of like time. Time starts at now, it ends at now, and it's just we view it as this straight line. But anyway, so love. Oop. Now, let's say that this intention of love, as it moves along, experiences something that's painful, and it makes a little loop. And when we're in this loop, when we're right here, or right here, or right here, or right here, we may experience fear. We may experience the hurt. We may experience hate. We may experience any of these things that we would not call love. But all of those things offer us the opportunity to reorient ourselves back to love. And we arrive here again. So even these loops that appear to be something other than love are love in its trajectory, this straight line. Okay. So there are a million different ways to understand this. But ultimately, everything that doesn't feel like it is love just gives us the opportunity to choose love again. So, whatever you're feeling, however disempowered you may be feeling, with someone new being in power who may be taking away aspects of your experience that are really important to you, or causing you challenge or causing you pain, you have the opportunity still to be centered in love. And you have the opportunity still, as radical as it sounds, to actually love the people who are in those leadership roles. When I say the word prayer, I am always talking about communicating with something that is beyond the self. So I don't care what it is. You could pray to a jar of water. Actually, I recommend praying to water. You could pray to a tree. You could pray to whatever you consider to be your higher power. You can pray to anything that is beyond you, but it's really just that communication that happens when we go beyond just the self, the personality. So pray. Pray when you're feeling disempowered, because that returns you to a state of love. It expands you automatically beyond whatever stories you're having happen within you, whatever the personality is going through. Prayer is extremely important. And as much as people make fun of it, they're like, oh, yeah, send your good thoughts. Like, what's that going to do? Take action. What puts you in a good place to take action? Does anybody have any ideas? Where would you want to be centered and rooted when you're taking action? Do you want to be boiling mad when you take action? Do you think that you're going to like the action that you take when you look at it in hindsight if you act from that place? Do you think that that action is going to create the ripples in the world that you want? Do we understand enough about frequency and resonance to know that what we put out is what we're creating more of? If I'm acting from a place of war within myself because I don't want to see war in the world and it's hurting me, am I stopping the war, or am I creating more war? What place would you like to take action from? Stillness is a really good way to say it. And the way that I would say it is love. I want to be in love. I want to be love when I take action, because what do I want to be putting forth into the world? Do I want to be putting forth hate and anger and disruption? No, I want to be creating love. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole reason anybody's mad in the first place, is because we're seeing things that aren't love. And it's disruptive to us because we are all love, even the people who seem so far from it. We are all love, and we all have the capacity to come back to it, to reorient ourselves to it, and to resonate with it. And I want you to think about these people who are doing things very differently than you or I would as tuning forks. You know, if you surround a tuning fork with other tuning forks that are playing a certain tone, then the one that is playing a different tone, or that isn't playing a tone at all, is going to resonate with the others, which means that it's going to begin to play that tone itself. What happens if enough of us come into being love? What happens then to those of us who are not in that position of being love, who are still really in the woundedness, who are really in the pain, who are really in the self centeredness, who are really in the blindedness, who can't see that they're a part of something so much larger than their quest for power? What happens if the rest of us are really in our power? What happens if so many of us remember our power as love that those people in those leadership positions start to resonate with us? Because who says that we're not the leaders? I'm a leader because I'm being love, and I'm causing the people who are around me to resonate with me. So I'm leading, I'm influencing, and you have the power to do that too. And it's time. It's time for you to choose it. Because you can tell yourself whatever stories you want to. You can convince yourself that you deserve to be angry, that you deserve to be choosing dysregulation, that you deserve to be whatever. And I understand that these wounds are asking for validation, they do. But what's the most validating thing that you can offer to pain? Love. So as soon as you become this, your life changes. And you find yourself in the perfect position to create change. Because the most disempowering thing is to see what's going on in the world and hate it and not have anything that you can do about it. The most disempowering thing is to have a really strong opinion about what should be happening and be in internet conversations in the comments yelling at other people about how they're doing it wrong. The most disempowering thing is to be in anger because that's not what it's for. It's a trigger. It's supposed to wake you up and go, "Oh my god. Ah, I get to choose love. Not only do I have to in order to make the change that I want to see, but I get to because that's who I am. That's what I have access to at all times. That's not something that can be taken away from me. And I am never too far away from home to come home because home is love." Okay? So you get to make this choice in every single moment. And if you don't know what love feels like right now, that's okay. If you're really far from home right now, that's okay. If you're really upset and really dysregulated and really scared, that's okay. There are things that you can do to help yourself. One of those things is to start to surround yourself with the people who you want to resonate with. You get to choose your environment, you get to cultivate it. Okay? So, first of all, get out of any situation where the other people that you're engaging with are asking you to resonate with their anger. Okay? So, you're going to disengage from those YouTube comments. You're going to disengage from the creators on whatever social media platforms you're connected with that are offering you something that isn't love. And you're going to surround yourself with the people who are rooted in love, who are making change, who are inspiring you. Okay? So no more of the people who are just complaining and talking about how awful everything is. More of the people who are saying, this is what I did today. This is how I am making a difference. This is me rooted in my ability to do what I'm passionate about. Okay. Because your difference that you get to make, it doesn't have to look any certain way. You don't have to be in politics, you don't have to be in government to be contributing your love to the world and creating that ripple. Because again, the most powerful thing that you can do is ask other people, invite other people to resonate with you as love. So if that means that you're spending the day painting and you don't even look at the news, that's perfectly fine. That's okay. If that means that you're parenting, if that means that you're cleaning houses, if that means that you're driving the bus, if that means that you're whatever you're doing, just do it in the understanding that you are absolutely limitless love and that you get to choose that. And that in doing that, you are aligning yourself with opportunities to change your own life so that you can be happier, more supported, more well resourced, all of that. This guy, this president guy, he has nothing on our power to do this. There's like no reason. There's absolutely no God up in the sky that's saying that this guy gets to just be more powerful than love. Absolutely not. So, the most meaningful thing that we can do, the most powerful thing that we can do, is to come back into ourselves, remember what love feels like, and then choose in every moment whatever feels like that. You're going to be very imperfect at this. You're going to mess it up a lot because you're human and because you've had so much patterning through your previous experiences where you haven't chosen love. Because the stories are going to come up that are going to say, do it like this again. And the stories are going to come up that says, this is what's going to protect you. And the stories are going to come up that say, you're not safe. And you are the only one who gets to bring those to question and who gets to say, I am love. Does this stand in the light of my love? What happens when I illuminate this? You're the only one that gets to bring all these stories to question. And when you do that, they naturally reorganize themselves. You see? That's why it's the job of the heart to do the organizing of the thoughts. It's not the mind's job. It's definitely not the brain's job because the brain is a flesh, just a big flesh ball lump. The brain's not doing any organizing. Okay? We are energetic beings with a capacity for understanding and handling so much more than what we give ourselves credit for thus far. Your heart is not just a physical organ, it's a multidimensional portal that allows you to experience yourself as this infinitely powerful energy. So choose that, make it a practice, keep track. You can take a journal with you and just kind of make notes to yourself or use your phone notes or make some voice notes or whatever. What does it feel like when you chose love and you did it successfully? And then what happens? Do you notice any ripples coming off of that in the coming days, weeks, months? Did any opportunities come in for you? Did you find yourself randomly receiving anything? What happens when you clarify your channel? Are you able to receive more of the divinity that you are? Yeah, of course. Of course you are. Okay? So I'll leave you with this today. Please spread this. This is not my message. This is our message, and it should be spread as far as possible. So please spread this, whether you share this video or you just take some pieces of what I've said and you repeat it or you say it in your own way. Do that, please, because we need everybody to really understand this. Okay. So we're not walking around just frozen or in absolute fear and letting ourselves be taken advantage of by whoever just says that they're in power. Okay? Because we know that we are in power, because we know that we are love, right? All right. So that's it for today. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's something else that you would like me to speak about in another video. And I just really, really love and appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for being here and for receiving my words and my energy and for letting this take effect in your life. Thank you so much for being touched by my ripples.